Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to begin the ceremony. Everybody, please take your places. Thank you. If you are sitting, please stand. If you are able and remain standing as we begin our ceremony with a moment of silence, the posting of the colors, and the singing of the national anthem. Please join me in a moment of silence to remember the fallen, the prisoners of war, the missing in action, and those who have served and are serving this great nation's armed services. The colors will be posted by American Legion Post 80. Color Guard, post the colors. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please join in singing our national anthem, which will be led by Chloe Reed from Enfield High School.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Beautiful. Thank you, Chloe. You may be seated. Thank you for joining us today. It is my honor to be today's Master of Ceremony. Before we begin, I would like to recognize a few people that are in attendance today. Please wave when I say your name. State Representative Carol Hall. State Representative Greg Stokes. Chris Bronson, Town Manager. Mike Ludwig, Mayor and Councilor at Large. Tom Arnone, Councilor at Large and Representative-elect. Gina Cicala, Councilor at Large. Liz Davis, Councilor at Large. Peter Falk, Councilor at Large. Bob Crissetti, District 2. Ed Denny, District 4. Thank you, everyone. Right now, as we gather here at St. Patrick's Cemetery, there are over 1,400 ceremonies taking place at memorial sites all across America, at sea and abroad, that are gathered as one nation to remember, honor, and teach. However, on December 1st, 2018, there was a ceremony overseas to remember and honor our veterans. Wreaths Across America was granted permission by the French government and placed 9,387 Maine balsam wreaths, just like the ones we have here today, at Normandy American Cemetery and Memorial. This is the first time that the Wreaths Across America sent U.S.-made wreaths to be placed on foreign soil. This is a beautiful tribute to honor the sacrifices of our armed forces. We are all proud Americans that live in a free society made up of many people from many walks of life. The freedoms we enjoy today have not come without a price. Lying here before us and in cemeteries throughout this nation and abroad are men and women who gave their lives so that we can live in freedom and without fear. We can worship as we see fit. We can raise our children to believe as we do. We can travel from one end of this great nation to the other and not have to ask permission to go. We are free to vote for whomever we feel should be in government office, with no explanation needed. We have the right to succeed, and we have the right to fail at whatever endeavor we wish to pursue. The United States of America was founded on the ideals of freedom, justice, and equality. Our nation stands as a shining beacon of liberty and freedom to the world. We thank those who gave their lives to keep us free, and we shall not forget you. We shall remember you. As we prepare ourselves today for this sacred duty of honoring our fallen heroes, we are reminded that every generation throughout our history has done what was necessary to stand up for the liberty and for freedom purchased by those that have made the ultimate sacrifice. In life, they honored their country. In death, their country honors them. Today, we are joined by some of the families whose loved one made the ultimate sacrifice. Son Tyler Jordan of Marine Gunnery Staff Sergeant Philip Jordan Enfield, who was killed in action in the vicinity of Ansarah, Iraq, on March 23, 2003. Philip's final resting place is here in St. Patrick's Cemetery. Parents Richard and Linda Bixler and grandmother Gloria of Marine Corporal Stephen Bixler of Suffield, who was killed while conducting combat operations against enemy forces in Al-Anbar Province, Iraq, on May 4, 2006. Stephen's final resting place is in Arlington National Cemetery. Mother Kathy Johnson of Lance Corporal Philip Johnson of Enfield, who was killed by a roadside bomb near Ramadai, Iraq, on September 3, 2006. Philip's resting place is in the Hazardville Cemetery. Brother Carl Sferrazza of Angelo Sferrazza of Enfield, who was Enfield's first casualty of the Vietnam War. He was serving as a gunner when his helicopter exploded in midair. Angelo's final resting place is here in St. Patrick's Cemetery. I say to our Gold Star families, thank you for your sacrifice. It is said, to be killed in war is not the worst that can happen. To be lost is not the worst that can happen. To be forgotten is the worst. Ernie? We have a special presentation by Ernie Maynard, World War II and Korean War veteran. It's not on the program. Ready?
Thank you very much.
Put it up close.
My friends, we are here. My friends, we are here as survivors of each of the flags. If each of the flags could talk, here's what it would say. I came into this world unknown to live a life of all of you. Dreams have come into my mind like all the flowers left behind. Thanking my mom and dad for their love divine. I went to church to know my God, who made this creature man. I worked and prayed and fought the wars in search of peace for all the lands. I saw the oceans, the mountains, the forests, and the lakes, made by God who never asked and never takes. Only man himself abuses, kills, and hates those very things that God creates. I'm leaving my heavenly home just to talk to you today. I learned to live and live to learn. Enjoying my life, a journey of life, love, laughter, and tears of joy, some tears of sadness came my way. I took it all in strife. The sun is not so bright or high. The warmth is dwindling in the sky. I pray, oh how I pray that when everything is nigh, I can thank my God for this earthly world and not ask, who am I? With trust in our faith, we are all the children of God. Thy will be done and blessings for all. And I thank you for your prayers and your thoughts, and I'm sure you did your best. So thank you again for coming here to put us all in rest. Thank you.
Thank you, Ernie. Thank you, Ernie. Presenting the names of those from Enfield that have made the ultimate sacrifice are members from Enfield's first responders, the Enfield Police Department, Enfield Fire Department, and Enfield's Emergency Service, a Blue Star family, Dan and Aaron Fitzgerald, a Gold Star brother, Carl Sferrazza, and Gold Star son, Tyler Jordan. World War I began July 28, 1914. The United States declared war on Germany on April 6, 1917. A ceasefire and armistice was declared 100 years ago on November 11, 1918. Total U.S. casualties reported are 53,402. Total Connecticut losses, 1,424. Total Enfield losses, 8.
Lyle Adams, Giuseppe Bruno, Thomas Everett, Lazarus Harabedin, Timothy Handley, Samuel McCrae, Albert Poole, Horace Tanguay.
Thank you. World War II officially began September 1st, 1939. The U.S. entered the war following the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941. The war ended on September 2, 1945. Total U.S. casualties were reported at 405,399. Total Connecticut losses, 4,347. Total Enfield losses, 47.
John Aerosmith Jr., Harold Biller, Howard Collette, Anthony Cherpak, Carl Dubiel, Robert Gavey, John Curtanis, Alan Lawton.
William McGill, Edward Nabanzi, Earl Ogden, Theodore Sandone, William Tomashitis, Walter Typrockwitz, Andrew Watson, Francis Wadowski.
David Austin, Francis Winaskis, Earl Conlon, Arthur DeLorge, Stanley DeRuza, Clarence Hicks, John King, Jeffrey Lepore.
Henry Milkowski, Joseph Nabanzi, Gilbert Pierce, Stanley Skorsky, August Troutner, Albert Udis, my uncle Ralph White, Robert Wood.
Edmund Bannon, Robert Carenzo, Edward Croteau, Frank DeWolf, Frederick Fortin, Walter Interkoffler, Leroy F. King, John Macholik,
Arthur Miller, Robert Triggs, Martin O'Brien Jr., Joseph Vesky, James Rinaldi, Joseph Wolotowski, and James Ferrazza.
The Korean War began June 25, 1950, and ended July 27, 1953. Total in-theater U.S. casualties were reported at 36,574. Total Connecticut losses, 326. Total Enfield losses, 4.
Francis Cody, Rosario Fidi,
Edward Fountain, Edward Gorinsky.
The global war on terror began on October 7, 2001. It continues today, and unfortunately, the numbers of losses will continue to change. As of December 12, 2018, the number of U.S. casualties are reported as 6,957. Connecticut losses are 65. Enfield losses are 2.
Vietnam first.
I went over Vietnam. Whoop. Excuse me, everybody. I passed over Vietnam. Thank you. The Vietnam War for the United States began July 1965 and ends with the fall of Saigon in April 1975. Total U.S. casualties are reported at 58,220. Connecticut losses are 612. Enfield losses are 4. Sorry about that.
Robert Goulet, Johnny Ray Hansen, Carl John Marino, Angelo Sferrazza.
Thank you, Chief. Okay. The global war on terror began on October 7, 2001. It continues today, and unfortunately, the number of losses will continue to change. As of December 12, 2018, the number of U.S. casualties are reported as 6,957. Connecticut losses are 65. Enfield losses are 2.
Philip Andrew Jordan.
My son, Philip Alexander Johnson.
Today we show a united front of gratitude and respect across the United States of America as we remember the fallen, honor those who serve, and teach our children the cost of freedom. Before we place the wreaths, will Vicki Stacy come forward and please bless them for us?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come together to participate in the Wreaths Across America ceremony. Please bless these wreaths that we will soon be placing on the graves of the many veterans who are buried here in St. Patrick's Cemetery. As we place each wreath, we will remember the fallen as we say their names. We will honor those who serve as we thank them for their service. And we will teach the young people here with us today what it means to be an American, to have the many freedoms these brave men and women have fought to secure for us. And to these I would add one more. We will pray for the men and women who continue to serve our country, who will not be home with their families this Christmas, as we pray for a world in peace. Amen.
Thank you. Done. You're up. A remembrance wreath in honor of those who served and are serving in the United States Army will be placed by Donald Hodzinski of the American Legion, Post 154, Carrie Fracasso, Life Scout, Troop 108, Sharon Bork, Girl Scout Ambassador, Troop 10355. A remembrance wreath in honor of those who served and are serving in the United States Marine Corps will be placed by Santi Sopo of Italian American Veterans Post 17, Chris Cadere, First Class Scout Troop 108, and Caitlin Gannon, Girl Scout Ambassador Troop 10355. A remembrance wreath in honor of those who served and are serving in the United States Navy will be placed by Rick Gorman, American Legion Post 80, LaShawn Robinson, Second Class Scout, Troop 108, and Finley Gannon, Girl Scout Cadet, Troop 10677. A remembrance wreath in honor of those who served and are serving in the United States Air Force will be placed by Harry Salhammer, AMVETS Post 18, Logan Muller, Tenderfoot Scout, Troop 108, and Mag Bosher, Girl Scout Ambassador, Troop 10355. A remembrance wreath in honor of those who served and are serving in the United States Coast Guard will be placed by Charlie Harris, AMVETS Post 18, Lee Braun, Scout, Boy Scout Troop 108, Desiree Napper, Girl Scout Ambassador Troop 10355. A remembrance wreath in honor of those who served and are serving in the United States Merchant Marines will be placed by George McDonald, DAV Chapter 52, Frank Troiano, Scout, Boy Scout Troop 108, and Sophie Trosen, Girl Scout Cadet Troop 10764. A remembrance wreath in honor of the 93,129 United States personnel from all branches of the service whose last known status was either prisoner of war or missing in action. We shall never forget you. Thomas Troiano, Boy Scout Troop 108, Olivia Trosen, Girl Scout Ambassador Troop 10355. We encourage every volunteer here today who places a wreath on a veteran's grave to say that veteran's name aloud and take a moment to thank them for their service to our country. It's a small act that goes a long way toward keeping the memory of our veterans alive. Please remember, we are here to remember their lives, not their deaths. Each wreath is a gift of appreciation from a grateful America. These live balsam wreaths symbolize our honor to those who have served and are serving in the armed forces of our great nation, and to the families who endure sacrifices every day on our behalf. To our children, we want you to understand the freedoms you enjoy today have not been free, but have come with the cost that someday you may have to pay yourself. As a nation, we stand together. We can defeat terrorism, hatred, and injustice. Thanks to our veterans, we have the freedom to do just that. For those that are sitting and able to stand, please rise for the rifle salute, taps, and retirement of the colors. The rifle salute will be conducted by the John Micholik American Legion Post 154, followed by taps performed by Tanner Balajian and Jeremy Turgonsky from Enfield High School. Color guard, retire the colors. This concludes our ceremony. Those that have reserved a wreath to place yourself, please pick up the wreaths honoring your loved one at the wreath reservation table with the blue tablecloth on the side of the driveway down the hill. For those that would like to place wreaths on the veterans' graves here, please proceed to the wreath station. There was someone standing down there with a neon-colored shirt down at the bottom. Please take one wreath at a time to allow as many volunteers as possible to take part in this solemn tribute. If you wish, you may return for another wreath after honoring a veteran. Next year's ceremony will be on December 21st. Thank you very much, everyone.